Hey, I'm Nate Flax.
I'm Noah Longworth McGuire.
And this is Talking Lion.
Talking Lion is a podcast focused on artist-to-artist conversation.
We're primarily artists, a duo called Sleeping Lion, but we've been lucky enough to write, produce, and hang out with so many incredible rising artists since we started our project.
Whether it's at sessions or parties or over cups of coffee, we've talked with our creative friends about everything. Music, life, love, and all the subtle complexities that come with being in the middle of a journey.
Talking Lion is about hitting record on these conversations and sharing them with you. There's no real structure, nothing really prepared, just friends talking about life and what it's been like and where it's going.
We now have a Patreon for fans of our show to help keep this going. Subscribers will become a part of the show in various ways, from providing questions to our guests, to getting a shout out on the show, to actually being on the show to chat with us. We'll even send you a mug.
So check out our Patreon at patreon.com/talkinglion.
We recorded this episode with our good friend Molly Moore.
Though we grew up in the same area and our parents were friends, we didn't actually meet until we both moved to Los Angeles.
Some context for this interview. We recorded this remotely over FaceTime following the release of Molly's single Handsomer featuring Maddie Noise.
Emitting an aura of exceptional creativity, Molly Moore palpably expresses her truth in everything she does. So,
without further ado,
I'm Molly Moore, and this is Talking Lion.
well, hey.
Hello. Hey, what's up? What's good?
It's good to see you in the midst of this quarantine.
Likewise.
Weird new world. We were old fans, and now we're new fans. You know, we're just been listening to your stuff a lot, and it's just good to see you. I feel like oftentimes we would run into each other like at shows or like at events and stuff, and now we all have to be cooped up a little bit. You know,
totally. Yeah.
How are you doing amidst all this?
It's been a wild time. It's been a really necessary period of a lot of self-work and self-discovery and finishing things and dealing with things I wasn't dealing with. Yeah, it's been quite necessary. I really miss live music. I don't miss going to bars that much. I miss people. I miss drinking with people, but I don't miss bars somehow. Like, I feel like, you know, but
I would describe to people, I miss going to shows, but I don't miss going to shows, you know?
Yeah. It's been a really reflective time for me, and I'm excited for next year, what this will bring for all of the people that are going through, I feel like, that transformation that happens naturally when you don't have the distractions that you're used to relying on, you know?
Well, it'd be hard, you know, to find anybody who is the same person they were at the beginning of this.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I was even just like reading journals from, you know, December. And like, I'm like, who is that guy? Like, I don't even know. Like, I feel like, again, just having to sort of look inward and like address a lot of stuff. I've made peace with things I didn't expect to make peace with now.
Yeah.
I thought I had like a couple more years to kind of to grapple with it, you know, with all the distractions. But instead it's like, oh, okay.
Same.
Like, this is what I need. This is what I don't need, you know, like.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's pretty eye-opening.
Would you say net's positive? You think overall quarantine Molly is, you know, a version upgrade?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, every single person that met me like in the midst of my meltdown last year when I was just out every single night drunk, like everyone's just like, oh my gosh, you're like transformed. And I feel that way, honestly. I slowed down a lot at the top of the year and really just sped up writing. Like, I was just in the studio constantly for the first 2 months of the year. I really don't think I took like a day off. And then when quarantine hit, I was like, damn, I was about to start going out. Like, really?
Right.
I was like, okay. But honestly, like, that wasn't what I needed to do with my time at all. I needed to sit down and finish all of the things that I'd started and decide what was worth finishing. And yeah, so that's like kind of what I've done. It's taken me a minute, but I've finished my album finally, and I'm working on another one and making plans to release it, and I'm super excited about it.
I mean, that's awesome. I want to dive into that, but I'm looking over at Noah because I feel like we've all had the same kind of like beginning of the year, whatever. We both were like, okay, like there was a little bit like breakup town season stuff, but we were both like, okay, we're gonna heal a little bit, you know, therapy, et cetera, and then
my actual New Year's experience was kind of disastrous. So I feel like I was taking like February, March to be like my spiritual New Year's. Like, I was like primed and ready. I'm like, I'm going to go out. I'm going to meet new people. I'm going to like leave my comfort zone. I'm going to change my life. Like, I had huge plans. And I feel like the start point of when those new plans were supposed to go into effect lined up very immediately with the entire world shutting down and being forced to be inside for a very long period of time.
Truthfully, same. I was getting super excited to play my album live and get my live show together and start touring. And yeah, it's really like rerouted my whole vision for this year. And honestly, I mean, it's crazy because I can't even imagine life not like this now. Like, it's so weird to try to think like, where would I be if this wasn't happening? But like, I truly can't even picture the world not being this way. You know, it's hard to fathom. And it's weird because I think of all the other people that were touring production and people that just like can't do what they were doing on a daily basis now. And I feel grateful that like I hadn't gotten into that rhythm of touring yet because like I wasn't used to that. And like, it's still something I can look forward to. And I was used to being a studio rat and being inside all the time. So it's that I can still do. That being said, like I do love collaborating with people in person and I really miss that. But the Zoom thing's cool. I've actually made some like songs that I'm super excited about on FaceTime. And I definitely like didn't really stop doing sessions. I stopped doing sessions as much as I was doing them. But like I've continued creating and pushed through. You know, it's definitely different though. It's definitely different creating on Zoom versus in person.
It's kind of like a recalibration because it's like, it's almost like, you know, finding the people you are the most comfortable with, you know, full stop. Like, I feel like when you have a session with somebody that you don't necessarily vibe with, being in the room gives you an opportunity to maybe start a vibe or create a vibe. But like when you're doing the Zoom thing, you don't have all of those tools at your disposal, you know, to get a vibe going or whatever. You know, it's a different way of kind of getting the energy across. So I feel like I'm not great at the Zoom stuff. I've been really enjoying doing Zoom podcasting because being on the phone is fun, you know, and just, I don't have to think about like, you know, melodies or hearing like all this stuff over. But also, when this started, I feel like we were doing a lot of sessions almost to a detriment, you know, to the detriment of our own music.
Right.
And now
I was doing that as well.
Definitely.
And that's something that this has taught me like in a real way. Cause it's like, that's a capitalistic mindset with like creativity. Right. And like now that capitalism is being destroyed from the roots, like I feel I can destroy it in my own structural like ways that I follow it, like thinking I need to work to be productive. And yeah, it's changed the meaning of what productivity feels like and means to me. Because
we've been talking about enjoyment insurance. Like we've been talking about like how, okay, you know, if you're making like all these songs, like how many of them do you enjoy? And like we've been talking about what it means to like be able to listen to your own music and appreciate your own music and like make things that you're proud of. And it's so hard when you're doing, you know, 7 sessions a week and like trying to get everybody's deadlines and like doing all that, you know, rat race stuff, you know, which you're right, is a fierce, it's the capitalism of a hedge bet. You know, we are hedge betting.
Totally.
We didn't go to the same high school, but we went to neighboring high schools.
Yes, and we went to the same temple?
My mom worked at the temple that you went to. I went to the one in White Plains.
Got it.
Yeah, we're from, you know, we lived maybe 5 to 10 minutes away from each other, but we didn't meet until LA. I'll never forget, I went to your mom for chiropractoring. What's the verb of that?
Chiropractic.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was getting a chiropractic. I was getting an adjustment. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. My brain like melted for a second. I was getting an adjustment from your mom, and yeah, she's like, so like, what do you like? You know, what do you plan on doing? Like, what are your sort of goals? I'm like, yeah, I want to make music and, you know, make songs. And she's like, oh, my daughter does that. You should check out her music. I mean, I was maybe 16 or something. So you were just in the beginnings of it.
Wow.
But I was I don't want to say I was a day one Molly Moore fan, but I was day zero, you know, just
That's crazy. We go way back.
Well, I remember being really inspired by the fact that you did the move. Like you went from Westchester to LA. And I think the first time we met was at like you were playing like a Madame Siam show, and I'm like, I don't know how to tell you this, but I looked up to the fact that you like escaped the hometown.
I remember that show. Yeah, I remember that. That was crazy, and my mom was there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good show. I think
it was a good show. It was before Madame Siam was Madame Siam. At first it was the Dirty Laundry.
It was the second room of Dirty Laundry.
Yeah,
totally. That's so funny.
So what was your? Because I know what it was like growing up in the suburbs, but what was it like for you? Did you sneak into the city for the open mics? Did you play any of the shows around?
Oh, of course.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I want to say it was at the bitter end because there was one show before that.
Nice.
There was one show before that was like a sketchy restaurant, like pre-sale tickets type vibe. That like I don't really think that was my first show. Like I don't think I played a single song in actual BPM at that show. Like I was like going from like slow song to like fast song, like within one song, and I had no idea that was happening. I remember watching back the videos, and my dad was like, "Yeah, you gotta work on that." But no, I think my first full band show was at the bitter end. And
that's awesome.
I brought my whole acting class to come see me, and they were the only people that were there, and I was really excited. I mean, my mom was there, my dad was there. I think they brought a few of their patients, but yeah, I still have the videos. That was a pretty hysterical show. And then I did more in the city. Yeah, lots of premature shows, Bowery Electric, Crash Mansion.
We did Bowery, yeah.
I was actually, before I moved to LA, I was gonna go on a tour with like somebody that was really big on YouTube that I liked a lot, and it fell through, and I was really disappointed. The booking agency that was like booking me on it were like, yeah, we're not gonna work with you, and I was so upset. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to LA. Like, fuck this. Like, I thought I was going to be traveling anyway. My friend was moving to LA, and yeah, that was like a really big shift for me because that was, I had to pay rent, and I knew there was no turning back. Like, I really didn't want to rely on my parents. So I started working and trying to write for other artists because I felt like that would be a way for me to sustain my own independent career. And it was a really wild time. It was quite wild.
It was interesting sort of seeing it, as a kid, like I'd play the Sidewalk Cafe. Like I loved playing the Sidewalk Cafe, but I was also seeing like all of these venues like turning into pay to plays and just the entire sort of pulse of the city dying. So by the time it was time to like make a decision of where I wanted to live, I'm like, New York isn't the New York that I idolized as a kid. I was seeing all these New Yorkers moving to LA and also becoming songwriters. I'm like, oh, you can do that.
That was the other thing, is that so my dad, around like, I think probably 11 or 12, that was when I was like, I mean, I was always into pop music from like 6 or 7. I was just like obsessed with pop music. But I think it was around that time that he was like, there's like writers. And he probably told me actually from the get-go, like as a kid, I'm sure I was like 7. He was like, there's writers writing these songs, right? And by the time I was, I think like 11, 12, it was clicking, and I would look songs up, like, because the internet existed. So you could look up the lyrics to songs. You could like, do all this weird stuff that I was at the forefront of, like all of it, like just on the internet doing weird shit. And I would look up my favorite songs and find out that like every single producer and writer was in LA. And I was like, I need to be in LA. Like if I want to work in pop music, which is what I loved it. I was like, I have to go to LA. And for acting too, I grew up, auditioning, and there is so much of an industry in New York, but it was always clear that if I wanted to pursue acting in a bigger way, I needed to go to LA too. So yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy because there were a lot of music friends that I had that were moving out to LA at the same time. And so it's interesting because I actually lost touch with a lot of those people and then like reconnected with them over the last few years. And so it's been really awesome as I've become like a not hermit again. Like I've started to run into people that I knew in New York, and I've realized I have so many people that I know in LA from New York. It's awesome. But they're all just, hidden away now.
to the first thing you're saying, I feel like for every songwriter, there's that moment that clicks that songwriting exists, and I think you guys probably had a head start on me. My father, played music. I think our fathers actually played shows together.
Oh wow, really? That's crazy.
My dad recalled like maybe a show or two in like,
That's
one of the
awesome.
bars. My dad was such a Emerson, Lake and Palmer, yes, purist that, he like, I never, if I got into a band, it was like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. It'd be like bands that were like capital B bands. And it wasn't until I was like 18 or 19 in college when like, I was like, oh, songwriting, there are people who just want to write songs, or that's like a thing. And then I had to like ad hoc get my pop education together.
I will never forget the moment in high school. It was like the come to Jesus moment when I first discovered Max Martin on the internet. I was like, wait, this one guy worked on all of these number one songs. Like it was like my mind had been completely blown. Like, wait, a single person is capable of doing that?
Yeah.
I will say the other thing that really like struck me about watching you from the sidelines, which I know this sounds really weird. I was not
at all. We're all stalkers. We all have social media accounts. We all literally keep tabs on people we don't talk to that we actually know in real life. It's just like, it's all of us. It's like the new generation,
Well, what kind of like, and this is a story I pass around every once in a while. What essentially started Sleeping Lion was I accidentally ran into like a very, very, very early stage Halsey, who was like, look out for Spotify, keep an eye on that. Like that's going to be something that is going to matter to a lot of people. It doesn't now, but it will. And I was like, oh no, we should keep an eye on that. Maybe we could also start a band and try it out, whatever. And the only other people that I saw that were taking it seriously was you. Like, because I would look through, the playlist, whatever, and you were the early adopter.
Honestly, we just got like really lucky. It was very organic, and I'm just a very pushy person, so I just like to just push to connect with people directly, like, and yeah, I think
it was inspiring. Like especially when we were starting out, it was like oh, like this person knows what's up. Like she knows what this industry is. Like you've always been really smart about this stuff.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, I've only ever been able to just hustle, I feel, like I've just always had this immense drive and nobody else to drive the ship but me. And so like, I'm just trying to figure out like where to take it, because I've always had this like intense energy around like connecting with people and collaborating and being able to kind of figure things out somehow without having any major or money or anything like that. I mean, I've never had like money to invest in my project. I've only ever had the money that I've made from my music to reinvest, you know what I mean? And it's crazy how that alone can like inspire an artist, like to be able to support themselves from their art. Like, and even if you can't grow it to the extent that you want to right now, like to see that and to see your music connecting with people, it's just like, once I saw that at the beginning, because those were the first songs I released, it was just so inspiring. I was so excited because I was just this person like that had this massive dream and nobody really else believed in it. I didn't think like, and I still really don't like when you tell me that, I'm like, really? Like, it's hard to process, like, because you sit alone and you're just like, I'm the only one that cares and I'm the only one that believes in this, and then you get like support like that, and yeah, it's very validating for a young creator that's writing their own music and wants to like be involved in the production and stuff. It's been exciting.
Well, and I feel that in the reverse. Like I think you were really one of our first LA friends and one of the first people to take us seriously, and that that validation lights a kind of fire for sure. I'll also say, and I was talking to a friend of mine about it earlier, but there is a very unique and very specific chip on the shoulders of New York Jews. Like we ride at an energy that can't be described, can only be documented.
That's
you will know us by the trail we leave. The waft of air as we're cruising to whatever's
Listen
next,
now, don't talk about my people that way, Nate. Okay,
hey,
you and I are gonna have a very big problem. All right.
Oh, it's my people too. It's our people. It's where we come from. It's our birthright.
Totally. 100.
It's what we earned. We earned from our parents wielding guilt like a knife.
Honestly. Honestly.
No, but it was interesting, especially just sort of like being a New Yorker out here, like, kind of realizing the frequencies and anxieties that kind of come with being an East Coast, being an East Coaster and being an East Coast too. I feel like it's
Totally.
a very specific chip on your shoulder, and I love that. I love that expression, not just because it reminds me of the incredible Legally Blonde song, but because the idea of like, oh, like we are scrappy and we have something to prove. Like, I love that shit.
Totally.
Who's going to drive the ship if not you, You have a bunch of new songs that have been coming out. What has been driving the sort of emotional undertones of that? Like, where has this new era of Molly Moore come from?
Soul crushing heartbreak,
I'll do it.
and grief, and denying my truth to myself for a long time, losing my own voice, finding it again, and wanting to make music that doesn't make me feel like any of that shit, but makes me feel like a boss bitch that doesn't need permission, basically. Yeah, so it's been really strange, honestly, because this album is like a mix of like pure vulnerability and like confidence that nobody's ever really heard from me before. And they're both very real, honestly. Like, they're both things that I had to embrace to get through how broken I was. And yeah, honestly, I've never felt like I could write songs until I had my heart broken. Like, I was writing songs, but I feel like I now know how to write songs in a different way. Like, I can embody them. Whereas before, I don't know, there was a disconnect for me in like seeing the vision of a full song through always, like, like not like half-assing things or going in and just like trying to come up with something and like giving up if it didn't work out. Like, now I just have like such strong things to say and emotions, and so many of them, that there's no, what do I write about today? Like, there's no like, how do I write about it? It's like very fucking clear every single time.
The faucet's on.
You know what I mean? And like, yeah, I'm excited about that part of my process evolving in this. It sucked a lot of the time. Like, a lot of this music that people are gonna like love, like hopefully if they love it or hate it, whatever. But like, I was like really damaged while I was making it, and like I only wanted to be able to like listen back and transcend that feeling and feel like better about myself somehow. And I think I've done that because I feel better about myself, and all I've done is make this album and listen to it. So like, I think it worked. Like, yeah.
Well, I think the purpose, not to like, come on and be like the purpose of songs, but I feel like, at its heart, the purpose of songs is to speak to something that the listener is experiencing. And, sometimes that's, getting high and hanging out and feeling good about life and everything. And I love everything you've made, but yeah, some of your earlier stuff was like, feel good. Like, we're going to have a chill time. But I feel like there's something to be said about speaking to the people who are going through grief, speaking to the people who are going through heartbreak, and knowing that they're not alone in it.
Yeah.
I think that, I love the new stuff because it resonates with the little broken parts of me, It resonates, it speaks to that. And I think, the idea of, once you've gone through something, what you gain is the ability to empathize with somebody else who's gone through it.
Mm-hmm.
So now you can speak to this piece of them.
Yeah.
And I think that will always resonate.
Yeah.
I think that everything you're saying, you can feel it in the music.
Thank you. And then the other theme that it's really about is it's basically about trying to get over somebody when the internet exists.
Right.
Because how do you do that?
I'll tell you when I figure that out. Yeah.
Unfollow him, I guess.
That's what everybody says. Like, it's like the most simple thing, or like blocking. And it's like, bitch, I don't follow them. Like, bitch, if I block them, I got 5 ghost accounts that I could go on to fucking check that shit.
Yeah, no, you have to
like,
it's like you have to do the
my
block mirror
brain
thing and block them in your brain.
It's not the internet, it's my brain. Like, it's me. And I actually, so it's crazy. I just stopped. Like, I just found the ability to stop torturing myself all day, every day, because I missed the person that I was with for 5 years so much that was the only way that I could see them. And that, as sad, as pathetic and desperate as that sounds, like, that is the ultimate crux of my album. Like just acknowledging that and admitting that. And then like all of the other parts of, you know, realizing that you maybe weren't the person you could have been in that relationship, even though they hurt you, you hurt them too, you know, like, and I think that's probably the second album I'm going to make, because this first album was very heavily focused on that hurt that that person caused me. There wasn't as much self-reflection as I'm going through now, but I was very honest. I was very honest and very raw about not being over it. And I think that was like the thing that was so important for me to embrace through the process, was like every stage of that, and not like trying to resolve it in one song or trying to resolve it in every song, like being okay with it not being resolved in my life and in the music, you know? And like, that's like something that it's taken me a while to get to, because in pop music too, I feel like you always want to get to like a certain spot by the chorus, or like hit songs. Like there's all these formulaic ideas in your head of how success is created, but like I kind of just forgot all of that shit, and I really didn't think about any of that. Like, and I truly just tried to make the best music that I would want to listen to, that I felt like I didn't hear from anybody, you know, like I felt like nobody was really making that music about that. And yeah, we'll see.
It's funny. I was talking to a friend of mine earlier today who's going through a breakup, and again, you know, having gone through some pretty shitty breakups, I think I have, you know, at least the pamphlet on like the sort of breakdown of step by step. And you know, she was upset, she was crying, and I was just like, listen, like it sucks. like I think I spent so much time trying to like find the shortcut to not having the pain of it, but like the faster you can get through the pain of it, it's like, you know, you dislocate your shoulder and you reset the bone, like, or you got to cauterize the wound, which is, you know, literally adding fire to an injury. But the idea being the more you can go through the pain of it, the more you can address the pain of it, the faster you get to the other side of it. And we wrote a song at the beginning of the quarantine, sort of realizing that like getting over somebody is a memory loss process. It's the process of sort of slowly putting some time between and some space between and some general memory loss between how you felt about somebody.
And that is so true. So true.
They say time heals all wounds. And I'm like, it does, because with time you forget everything.
Well, what's wild actually is there's a part of me, I completely agree with that, and I hear what you're saying, but there's also a part of me that really needed to accept how great my relationship was at the beginning in order to like understand why I feel the way I do now. Like, and there was so much I wanted to blame it on, or like say that like this was bad and that was bad, and focus on those like negative memories to try to like not want to go back or prove to myself that this was like the right decision. But in like focusing on the positives and like like all of the beautiful things that I take from that relationship every single day, I feel so much more at ease in myself, knowing that's like, it's such a great thing that I met this person that was expansive to me, and we were able to grow together for a period of time, and that like I still carry a lot of those things I learned from him in my daily life. And like, honestly, as simple and elementary as it sounds, like it's been like massive for me, because there was a lot of just like trying to twist my brain and deny things, and like a lot of delusion and denial, and like the acceptance of reality of like what's genuinely real. Because like you know, when you break up with somebody, you have all of your friends being like, he's terrible, and you know, like unfortunately, like that's just like what most people know how to do. Like that's just the only way most people know how to provide support for somebody that's coping. But it's sort of like cancel culture in a way, and I'm just like not about any of it, unfortunately. And like,
I think the truth is always more nuanced than your friends ever get to see.
It's never clean.
Yeah, when you're in a relationship with someone, you get to know them better than, you know, sometimes than all the other people in your life.
Yeah. You know why they were like that.
Yeah, you know why they're like that. You know every inch of the thing, and it's like you never get to explain the totality of it.
Yeah, and when you are explaining, or if you're heated in explaining, it's usually because there's something negative going on, and so that's the other end of things is that like your friends get a lot of the like short end, the shitty stuff, and so. Yeah, it's just been a lot of like, you know, navigating that, because I've had such great friends that have helped me through this. I mean, like Maddie, my best friend who is on Handsomer, she's been like just the biggest help in my life. I mean, she's like saved my fucking life and empowered me to believe in myself and my music and like not feel like I need somebody else. And I mean, that
comes
so
through in
massive.
the song. I think that comes through in
totally
in the song that you guys did together. How did you two meet?
We met at BB Rex's event
Wow.
during Grammy Week 2 years ago, or like 2.5 years ago.
I think I saw photos from that. I thought it was
awesome.
It was like a women's event,
yeah,
right?
she did it this past year too, actually. I met so many incredible women at this event, and Maddie and I actually never hung out until about like 7 months later. We did a session and we were just like bonded from that day on. Like I had a lot going on in my life. A lot was kind of unfolding for me at that point, and she was just there. And she was like, if you need a place to crash, like, I know you're sleeping on your friend's couch right now. If you want to sleep in a bed, like, I actually ended up sleeping on her couch for like 7 months before we moved into this house, which is crazy because I never thought I would be that person or do that, but it taught me so much. It really did. And I think everybody should go through a period where they live on their friend's couch for about 6 to 8 months because it's very humbling. You don't need your stuff, kid. You don't need none of that shit that you think you need. It's true. Like, and it's made me realize like I really don't need stuff. Like I am a full human without anything, like, you know, and it's great to have things. It's amazing to have things. It makes me have value and like feel so thankful to have a beautiful place to wake up and lay my head and like to have my mattress, you know, out of a storage unit. We
are couch hosters. For anybody listening, if you ever need a couch, we are couch hosters. We have, I think, amassed between various friends, a good year of couch living,
couch credit,
couch credit,
you know?
which I hope it never happens, but I hope that if the chips ever fall this way, that we can cash them in for a couch, here and there and everywhere. Totally. But yeah, right. There's something. I think there's something about realizing what's important, similar to what has come from the quarantine.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's amazing that you guys have sort of created this bond. Like especially in LA. I mean, I'm lucky. That Noah and I moved out here together, but having somebody who just like has your number, who like knows what's up, that's huge.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I've never really bonded with another artist like that. Or another female artist, I guess. And it's just been everything to me. I that's all I'll say. Like, I feel so lucky to have a friendship like that. And I've made other like really strong female friendships over the last year and male friendships, all genders welcome. Like, I just think like friendship in general was something that like being in a relationship for so long, I really, really lost sight of. And like, I had a lot of acquaintances and a lot of lost friendships, but like none that were really active for a long time. And I just feel like a whole person again, like having friends.
Well, no, listen, I feel that. I joke around, that the two most important things to me are friendship and making good shit, Yeah. Like and to that, like, hey, you got some friends here if you ever need them,
Likewise. Likewise. Y'all are the homies.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing is like, if all this were to like go to shit tomorrow, like if this music thing was weird, and somebody were to ask me, what was the best part of this time for you? I don't think I would say the songs. I don't think I would say shows. I don't even, not even like, the occasional big artist you run into. I think it was just the friends that we got to make cool stuff with, the friends that we got to like, get to know. But whether it's through the podcast or through sessions. So
for sure.
I definitely vibe and resonate with that. I love Handsomer. Like I've been telling you, like I've just been like bumping that. I wake up with it in my head.
It's a great song.
Yeah, I mean the hook is crazy.
It's a good hook.
I don't need a man, no, I just need a manicure.
It's a good hook.
You was kinda handsome, but I am much handsomer.
Oh my God, that
so
makes me
good.
so happy.
And y'all are so cool in it. Like what?
Yo,
like
we made the funniest music video. We made a real video that's like on another level. Like Maddie mainly came up with this idea, and we fleshed out the details, because originally we had an idea that we wanted to shoot in a nail salon, but we couldn't do it because of COVID. So we were like, let's find a concept we can shoot at our house. And so we got to the crux of the meaning of the song, and Maddie just spouted out this concept. We were like a little bit stoned, a little bit drunk in the backyard. And she was like, okay, this is about empowerment. So they're going to be like some girls and they're like whining about how these guys are not texting them back. And then we are going to rush in our pink superhero costumes and we are going to press a fucking button and empower these bitches. And so straight up, we made a video like that. You should just go watch it. And there are laser beams that shoot out of multiple women's vaginas within this music video. That's all I'm going to say.
Amazing.
That's all I'm going to say. There are laser beams involved. They might be rainbows. I don't know.
You guys are amazing. Like I was saying, the song is weird and good at the same time. Like I know people who can do weird, and I know people who can do good. I've never, it's very hard to find somebody who can be weird and good at the same time and just have it just slap and be funny, but also like have a very serious heart to it. Like I get it, I feel it, like I've never had a man or a manicure, but it seems like one definitely trumps the other. If this video is any advertisement for it,
Dead. That's so funny.
How did it come to be? Was there a line that kind of opened it up for you guys, or are you just having fun? Did it come around with the same level of high insight as the video?
Honestly, the process was kind of wild. Like, I originally wrote it with this artist Flavia and the producer Rob Resnick from Time Flies.
Yeah.
And so we had the session, and she played some music that she'd been working on. I played this song that I had made called I Do, that's also on my album. And that was the first song where I was experimenting with that type of voice, because I've been experimenting with like different singing voices, I feel, my whole life. But that was like the first song where I kind of tapped into this new character, and I was like, I wonder if I could do this again. It's so much fun. It makes me feel so like happy and like fuck you, but like happy, like. And so we were like, yeah, let's make some crazy shit like that. And I had my first set of acrylics on, actually. Like, I'd never gotten tips before. So like I felt like extra feminine. Like, I always see these girls with these crazy claws. I never had the claws. I was like, let me get some claws, like it was a total fluke experience where like I was going to get my normal manicure that I always get. And then the woman was like, do you want like extra? You don't have a lot. And like, she was like judging me for how short my nails were. And I was like, you know what? Fine. I'm in West Hollywood. Like, fuck it. Yeah. Let me get some fake nails for the first time. I think I was doing a shoot. So I wanted it to look like extra cool,
Right.
This is like really random, but like I have like weird things where I'll like pick at my lips with my fingernails, or like even like my head, I'll like scratch at my head, and these nails like stopped me from doing it. And I realized I had like broken a habit that I'd done like my whole life from like just getting fake nails. And it like the sessions I was doing were actually getting better because all of my energy was going to the writing, and I wasn't like doing all these like nervous tick habits that I like normally do. And so like I think I was talking to them about that, like, or maybe this just happened once the line came up. I don't remember, but like, that's how I related to it. Anyway, so we wrote like the verse first, I think. Actually, you know what? We wrote the pre first. We wrote the pre first.
You get no second chance. I'm more man than you'll ever be. Wear the dress and the pants. You can't fuck with my energy. You should cancel your plans. Get your ass into therapy. Now you're dead to me.
And then Rez actually had the whole hook. Rez had it. He was like, I have this one-liner. He was like, I've been waiting to do it. It's like, I don't need a man, no, I just need a manicure. And I was like, what? I was like, that is... And then, like, I like had to like, burp it or whatever I do. Like I just wanted to like growl it and make it like weird and whispery. But like Rez is flames with the writing and producing. He produced that track, and he was a big hand in writing it. And the verse was just like, I was so like tired of being confused why my ex was checking my story if he's like in a new relationship, which, like also just drove me to check his more, which is really funny. You'll hear about that on other songs on the album. But
that's a cycle.
like that's like basically what it's about. Like, it's just like it was like me not dating. Like, I haven't dated for a year. Like, I've been single and I have not dated anybody. And I felt all this pressure because, like, you know, he'd been with all these like new people and like was starting a new relationship. And I just felt like I have to do that, like, because I am not over this. And so, like, I'm being tortured by this. So, like, I must have to, like, date somebody. And then, like, I realized I can't do that. Like, I literally couldn't do it. Like, there was no part of me that was, like, not ever, but, like, there was no part of me at that time that was emotionally available in any way to, like, hang out with somebody like that. So, yeah, I just wanted to make music that was like, fuck it. I don't need to date. Like, I do not need a fucking boyfriend. I don't need a dude. Like, I don't know why everybody's so hype on, like, try to just, like, pair up, yo. Like, fuck this shit. Like, I'm heartbroken as fuck. Like, I can't do it. And so that's what Handsomer is about.
I mean, I love that. I'll never forget, like, right after this breakup. And I think just, you know, my thesis in what I'm about to say is we should definitely normalize quote unquote uneven breakups or whatever. Like, I feel like whenever a breakup happens, if one person moves on faster than the other or whatever, like there's this feeling of like, oh, I have to catch up or like some shit. But without taking into account like, you know, how you're doing personally, like your own mental health, like whether or not you even want, like whatever. And I remember like after my breakup, like towards the end of last year, I felt this extreme pressure to go out, like to, you know, go out and meet people and like all that stuff. And I explained this to my therapist. And
so that's when we kept running into each other last year because we were both doing that exact same thing.
Right. You know, like I was out, you know, and I explained it to my therapist how I couldn't even necessarily like, it was a waste of time because I didn't want to be there and it showed. It like really showed. And she's like, why are you, she, you know, she, of course she makes some music metaphors. She's like, why are you going to concerts you don't want to see? I'm like, yo, because I was going to concerts I don't want to see to meet people that I don't want to be with. Like she was being metaphoric, but it was literal, you know, like, and that's, you know, that definitely resonates. And then to Rez's production, I love just the vocal double in the second chorus.
I don't need a man, no, I just need a manicure. You was kinda handsome, but I got much handsomer.
Like the chromatic, semi-atonal, like it like distorted. It's so cool.
You mean the harmony?
The harmony, yeah.
That was Maddie actually. Maddie laid that in.
It was a cool production.
Yeah, so I meant to tell you, she like ended up rewriting the second verse when she jumped on it. So once the song was done, I was like, yo, this is such a Maddie Noise vibe. I feel like I'm like I have to get her on it. Like, and when she heard it, she was like, hell yeah. So we like rewrote the second verse and she killed it. She added those like crazy harmonies and this post chorus. And yeah, it was a really cool process. Like that's the only time we've collaborated for my project, which is crazy because we've written so many songs. Like I have like 3 co-writes that I wrote with her for her album, and we write all the time, but that's for some reason the only one that's come out for my project. So
it's funny, actually. I think the first time I heard about Maddie was because there were posters of hers hanging up in my neighborhood.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I was like, she looks really cool. That's a cool album cover. And then I looked at the credits and I'm like, oh, I know her. I know Molly, you know?
That's so funny.
No, but yeah, you know, to that pressure too, I feel like, you know, Corona, now that nobody can really like safely, you know, go out and date, it takes the pressure out of
but here's
the system.
Here's the thing, like my ex found someone in the quarantine, so I'm still very much like I still have that thing. I still am entirely smack in the middle of that feeling of just like, God damn it, like she did it, like now I have to catch up, like I have to like also
normalize uneven dating.
Also find someone in the quarantine, and I'm like, then there's a part of me that's like, that's stupid. Like, chill the fuck out. Like, enjoy this time. Enjoy this open time when you don't have to date anyone. When like you can barely date anyone to begin with.
No, get a manicure. Get a fucking manicure.
Honestly, that sounds great. My nails are kind of a mess.
The manicure line, it's all just about like self-love. You know, like it's just a metaphor for like just like loving on yourself harder than you love on someone else. Because to be honest, I never did that until this year. Like, I've never, ever done that in my entire life, like, until now.
I mean, people don't realize it is the small things. Like, I think what was really interesting is post-breakup, I took, like, my skincare more seriously. I had, like, a really dry, flaky skin that I, like, on my face that I was really... Hello?
Okay, you tell
He can
him,
join. He can be the
Atlas.
guest on the podcast.
There. You have a microphone. It's very loud when you do that.
No, I was really self-conscious of it. I'm like, okay, what, like not for anybody, but just for myself. I could feel better if I just like,
Right.
fucking learn how moisturizer works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
huge.
Amen. Moisturizer, yo.
Yeah.
Fucking secrets of life.
Secrets of life. Moisturize, hydrate your face, hydrate your body, and get good night's
Hydrate
sleep.
your life.
Are you ready for the question round?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. First question of the question round. What is your phone background?
Oh my gosh, my phone background is like this really, really sexy picture of me in that pink suit for Handsomer because
Nice.
I wanted to keep myself like real revved up getting ready for the release. I was like, this is coming out. And then every time I look at it, kind of just reminds me like, okay, like this is where my focus is at. Like it's Handsomer time. But usually my phone background is my mom. Like I'm gonna be
Aw,
that's
honest.
really
Like
sweet.
generally it's a picture of me and my mom. But lately it's a very sexy picture of me in a pink suit.
That's great. Love to see it.
I love that. It's your superhero. It's your alter alter
exactly.
ego. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a daily reminder of the badassery within.
How much handsomer I am.
Ooh, there
Yes,
we are.
there it is. Do you have a non-musical hobby?
Yes, I have lots of non-musical hobbies, right, Molly? We do things outside of music. I love animals. I just love dogs, cats, all of them. I love them. That's a hobby, right? Hanging out with dogs.
Yeah.
That works. Did we hear Bear the dog earlier? Is that his name, Bear?
I call him Bear, but his real name is Atlas.
Ooh,
and
that's a
he's
great name.
Maddie's dog. Yeah.
I love that.
I'm actually really, this is sort of music related, but I'm getting into creative direction. I've been doing it for myself for my whole life, but I'm trying to start doing it for other artists. So it's such a big part of everybody's lives. And I just love being weird and creative. And I feel like I have more to offer than just doing it for myself, you know?
That's great.
I love that.
Yeah. Sort of semi-related. Are there any skills that you would like to have? Anything, anything?
Oh, yes. I am going to be a bass player by the end of 2020. Mark my words.
Okay.
Get it.
I am
Make it.
going to be playing some fire ass bass lines. They might be really simple, but they're going to be fire.
Some of the best bass lines are really simple. I think that's
Yeah,
like part of
you know?
the charm of the bass is like finding unique ways of being simple.
Totally. And I really would like to learn how to cook because I'm not a
same.
very good cook. I have a good instincts in cooking and I'm an excellent baker. So I know there's a lot of potential for me.
Right.
So I would like to look into that.
I'm trying to find the difference between things that I'm uncomfortable doing and things that I'm actually just bad at. It's a fine line, I think. Cooking is somewhere between those two, I think, for me.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of like lack of confidence that goes into not wanting to try things because you like weren't immediately good off the bat. But how did you ever get good at anything? By doing it over and over again and finally doing it right one time, being like, oh shit, that feels awesome.
Right.
Well, we
Yeah.
had the luxury of being terrible when we were children, which is a time when everybody's terrible. Like you can't even tie your shoes.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like properly use the bathroom and, or drive a car, and so you're bad at the thing you're supposed to do with your life early. But now I'm so self-conscious of being bad at like anything.
Yeah, fuck it, break it, because there's so much potential. I feel like that's the main thing I've learned this year is to just shift my perspective. Like whenever I'm upset about something, I'm like, what can I learn from this? And then whenever I'm scared of something, I'm like, how can I get better at doing this thing that I don't like to do often, or maybe that I haven't liked to do in the past? Like I try to reframe it in my brain because I'm sick of not liking things. Like I don't want to go through life not liking things. There's no reason to. And so like, I feel like it's all about the way you look at it. And like, that's something that's honestly helped me a lot. Like it's helped me break through my own insecurities. I have like a lot of perfection complexes. I don't want to like share things with people unless I feel like they're the best they can be. And that takes a lot of the rawness and realness away from things. And so like, there's a really fine balance in that. And knowing when you're doing something to do it properly and correctly, and knowing when you're just like going the extra mile for no reason at all, like And yeah, I don't know.
No, I mean, I just super vibe with that. Like, I think on top of it, if you are nervous about how somebody's going to perceive something, that's kind of like a sacred thing because it means you care about it. And when you think about all these, especially in 2020, all the things that you struggle to care about, or all these things that are hard to care about, or feeling anything at all ever sometimes, having something that makes you legitimately nervous because you care about it. That's some magical stuff, even if it's uncomfortable,
Totally. It's so true. And a lot of times that's where like the areas of the most growth can happen for you if you're like willing to face them. And that's like the thing I'm kind of just in the middle of now.
Hey, so to what we were saying about before, like there's no shortcuts. You just got to go through it. You got to go through the sucky part. You got to go through the shit of it.
Absolutely.
I guess speaking of going through
speaking of going through
the choppy waters.
Right. Important question. Would you be a pirate?
Would I be a pirate?
In like pirate times.
That's how I replied. I replied with I.
Dead. So like, are my options like pirate or something else? Or it's just like no or yes to pirate?
I guess it's like if you were living in the prime time to be a pirate,
would you enjoy it?
Would you indulge in the life of swashbuckling and crime and adventure? Or would you
maybe crime?
No, being a pirate, you are a criminal. You're. It's like being in the mob. You're entering into a world of criminals. That's not a negotiable part of it.
But we're stealing from slave traders and not good people. We're stealing from.
I guess, but like you're still.
You can choose to steal from bad people.
Yeah, exactly. But they're also like law-abiding people who are just doing their job.
We are clearly on opposite sides of this debate. We have been for the duration of this show.
I never knew anything about pirates. Clearly, so pirates commit crimes against bad people?
Pirates committed crimes against everything.
Yeah, pirates are just criminals of the high seas, like robbing imperial ships and.
But they were imperialism. We should steal from as a general rule.
Honestly, I don't know how I would have felt back in those times, how evolved my brain would have been. But now thinking about it, that sounds like a life that I would like to live. I would like to be a part of the uprising.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm a modern day pirate, honestly.
Yo, I'm with it. I was gonna say your suit and handsomer, like, you add an eye patch and like a parrot, and like that could be your pirate outfit. That's
a really, really good idea. Like theming the handsomer outfit to like different like pirate and like maybe maybe we do the prosthetic older face,
Yo, that would just like being like an old
like
badass.
I'm 95.
No, that'd be so cool. I'm down for a handsomer pirate.
I love it.
That's great.
Captain Handsomer. Captain Handsome.
So good. So good. Yo, my Halloween costume all the way.
Yo, that'd be sick.
I love that. Do you have any tattoos? If so, what was your first one?
I don't really have any tattoos. I do have a dot of ink on my left wrist that my friend convinced me and 4 other friends to get. She called it friendship freckles, but we like had it done before we Googled the term. Found out later it's not a thing, but we all paid $40.
Is it something else or is it
each? It's literally just it's a freckle. Like it's a literal.
Did she make up the term friendship freckle?
Yes, she totally like fooled us all.
That's great though.
Can you see it?
No, which I think is part of it.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to. It's the tiniest freckle ever. I can't believe I can still see it. And we all paid $40 on the Jersey Shore. Each. $40 each because we needed new needles for this tiny dot. We were such like
that artist just made a killing that day. That
was
easy work.
Prime example of privilege. Just prime example.
Could you imagine if like we had the songwriting equivalent of a friendship freckle? Like you walk in, it's like one word, and then you leave, and you get the full rate. Like you get the full 33% or whatever on the thing.
Yeah, actually, my day rate is $5K, and all I do is I come in, I smoke a blunt, and I say, Molly,
Yo,
Peace.
Molly, I think you actually have a business plan in like, I'm gonna save this little piece of audio. That's a business plan right there.
There might be a whole world within that.
Yeah, I think you got something good right now. I think you're onto something
really good.
I think you just created the friendship freckle of songwriting.
So
That's
funny.
great.
Molly on the track.
Molly. What was the first concert you ever attended?
Britney Spears
Nice.
at Jones Beach. I was 5.
That's a really good one. Do you think that influenced you on some kind of subconscious level?
How could it not?
Right.
Wait, your first concert was at Jones Beach. My first concert was at Jones Beach.
Really?
But I saw Yes, which is
crazy.
which I say also set in motion whatever the fuck happened in my life.
That's crazy.
In a very very different way.
Yeah, honestly, like I needed binoculars to see her. My friend Social was with me. I'll never forget. I was so excited, but I couldn't really see anything that was happening. Like we could like barely hear it too. Like it's crazy how like being that far back in a outdoor arena. I'm sure it was great, but like I was 5. My memories aren't that sharp.
Yeah.
I have a joke for you. Ready? What did the person say after they accidentally stumbled into their second Britney Spears concert?
What?
Oops, I did it again.
Oh my God. Dead. Yo, that was me at 7 in Madison Square Garden. Straight up. I went with another friend and her dad, and we had way better seats that time. And all I remember was like looking to the sides of the stage, thinking that anyone wearing pink was Britney and that they were like walking and that I would be able to see Britney because I was that young and naive that I was like, she's going to be like backstage and I can probably see backstage from here, right? Like I had no idea how life worked at all. Like at this point in time, I was like chatting on AOL to like Britney manager 963, thinking that I was talking to Britney Spears in the studio, like with her manager, straight up. Like,
I appreciate the gumption.
Yeah,
I feel like you were making moves.
I was
Mind
out
you
here
were aiming in the wrong direction, but you were networking.
I was 7, but I had something to offer. I was like, listen, I sing, I write, sign me up, throw me in.
It's like, what's up? I think one of the things that really struck me when your mom like showed me your stuff was that like you had a Facebook page or something. Like you were one of the first people I'd seen who like did the artist profile somewhere. I'm like, that's real cool. I'm like, she's all set,
Moral of the story is that I've spent my entire life online.
Well, I'll say on the flip side, like my first Madison Square Garden concert was Linkin Park.
Dude, what? That is so tight.
It was Coheed and Cambria and Linkin Park, and I feel like that again set a certain trajectory that I lost.
So
I lost the thread of somewhere down the line.
Wow, I love that.
I'm jealous, honestly.
It was a great show. I'm not gonna lie, it was awesome.
Do you have a scar with a story?
Oh yeah, I got scars. I got scars for days. I mean,
give us the highlight. Give us the best one.
This is definitely the best one because it had to be so
On your nose.
Yeah. My dog bit me when he was sick. He was sick, like on the couch, and I thought he was like gonna die. I was so sad, and so I was like petting him before school. I was 18. I was about to leave, and he launched at my face. And I just remember being like, "Oh no!" Like blood was just gushing, and it was just like crazy. I actually ended up going to my cousin in New Jersey. He's like a plastic surgeon, and he sewed my nose up. And I'm like laying there, and he's like, "I'm just gonna like flatten out your bridge a little bit." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "You're kidding, right?" Like, and he was like the type of dude that like he would just make a joke like that. So I literally to this day don't know if he was joking or not. I don't know if he fucked with my nose or not. I don't think he did because my nose doesn't look any different to me. But
who knows?
Who knows?
It's the mystery of the
mystery of my life.
I like to think like I don't necessarily believe in a lot of stuff, but I like to think that at the end of your life you ask all the questions you had, and you're like okay, I got one thing I gotta ask.
Like, did you fuck with my nose? Like, I need to know.
It's like you don't want to know the meaning of life or like why you're on Earth. No, I want to know what the fuck's up with my nose.
God, listen, God, is this my nose?
Is this my nose?
Do you think, like, I want to ask what was in the briefcase in Pulp Fiction. You think that's up for grabs?
Yeah,
so
funny
MacGuffin,
that you mentioned that because that's actually part of what the music video is like spoofing on.
Oh,
is
that's
the
awesome.
briefcase in Pulp Fiction.
Right,
that's awesome.
I love that.
So funny.
You know, I know that Tarantino was a Hitchcock fan, and Hitchcock like coined the term MacGuffin. So I just, you know, everybody's like, "What's in the box?" And I'm just like, "It's a MacGuffin."
I know it's a MacGuffin. I know it's a storytelling device.
Yeah.
I know but like,
what's in the box?
if we're talking afterlife, like I don't care about the world anymore. I want a solid answer.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Like
That's
that would
fair.
give me peace in perpetuity.
I feel like we could also just kidnap Tarantino and be like, "But let's do, like let's."
I don't even
dance."
think he knows. This is a question for higher powers.
Honestly.
Molly, what are 3 thoughts you have at this moment?
I am so grateful that you guys had me on for this podcast. It's so lovely to
Likewise.
see your beautiful shining faces. I am extremely hungry and I need to eat and feed myself more than I currently do. And also, I love my mom.
Aw, that's really sweet. I love that.
I love your mom too. She's great. She's just she's very sharp. That's
She is.
if there's a word that she's just very quick witted, which I really appreciate.
She is. And she loves that word, sharp. That's one of my mom's favorite words. I mean, you really hit the nail on the head with that one.
I imagine that's why it's her favorite words because I think it
she is very
encapsulates
sharp
her
herself,
very well. Yeah,
It's true.
yeah. She I think she presents it very well. You know, that's her truth. You know,
It's true.
What are you most proud of?
That's such a massive question. Wow.
Yeah, we're really
Yeah, we do the light.
We do the light ones. We hit heavy at the
yeah,
end.
it's like, will you be a pirate? And also, what is
Also, like, do you have any purpose in your life at all?
yeah.
I think I am most proud of my ability to feel really intense, deep emotions and then get past them.
Yo, I love that. I love that.
You know,
That's
like,
a good. That's an
because
objectively good
they're both-
answer.
They're
Yeah.
both important parts of life. We can't stop feeling, and we also can't feel all of the time as much as we do, you know? So, yeah, I think just being able to transcend and get through and find a way to stay inspired and just see the good in situations, I think.
I appreciate that a
Yeah,
lot.
I really
I really
that's really
appreciate
good.
that.
What's important to you?
My mom.
Love it.
My sister. Real conversations like this. I think it's part of my purpose. I want to help stop world hunger because it's an issue of uneven distribution of food. It's not an issue of not having enough food for everybody to eat. I want to be a part of abolishing that because I think it's such a outdated concept and I have no idea really how I'm going to be involved. There's a company that I've tried to get involved with for a long time that I'm in communication with called Copia. That it's not a nonprofit, actually. It's a for-profit company that essentially has people drive excess food to people in need. Yeah, that's important to me. Atlas, this is such not a good place for you. Atlas, honestly, what are you doing? Back up. I'm sorry, but like you gotta chill.
Well, shout out Copia. I mean, you know, I think
Yeah.
you know, the more that we can use this platform for good, similarly to what you were saying about purpose, like I feel like these conversations, you know, I'm very lucky that I've been able to have these with our friends. I feel like the privilege of being able to open up to people and have them open up back was one of the reasons we started this podcast, you know, was so that we could have these real conversations with our friends so people know what it's like to be in all of this shit.
Yeah,
you know, it's like to really
totally.
feel stuff, to what it means to feel stuff and move on. And
Yeah.
but then for people to, you know, also hear these little time capsules we leave behind of where we were at those moments, you know?
Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
And the last question is, what are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to applying everything I've learned in my life into every moment. And
Hell yeah.
And not just talking about things, but living them. I'm looking forward to touring for the first time as a solo artist. I'm looking forward to just giving more of myself. I'm looking forward to acting again. I'm looking forward to just finding more ways to connect with people and help people through their shit by showing them how I've gotten through mine.
I mean, that's perfect. That's
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you've summed up how I feel about this year and about all this stuff as well. So, you know, hey, Molly Moore, we laughed, we cried, we asked God a couple questions about our noses. You know, we did it all today. And
I became a pirate.
You became a pirate. You know, Noah kidnapped Tarantino and then realized that
he doesn't know anything.
Atlas became a pirate too.
We saw Atlas, the dog, the most adorable dog. Aw, hi.
He's such a
my
cutie.
God.
Got a great face.
That was a great
such
dog.
a handsome boy.
I'm not ready in my life to have a dog, but I can't wait for the time when I am. I know I'll be when I'm a more distinguished.
Oh, you're gonna be such a good dog dad, Nate.
Yeah, just I'm not there. I'm still a dog boy, you know. And I gotta then become a dog man and then a dog dad. But until that day, until I can be a dog dad, I'll just be a songwriter kid and keep looking up to the great songs that you write. So Molly, thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys having me. This was so much fun. And let's make some more music sometime.
I don't need a man, no. I just need a manicure. You was kinda handsome, but I am much handsomer. I don't need a man, no. I just need a manicure. You was kinda handsome, but I am much handsomer.
We would like to thank Alan C. for supporting Talking Lion on Patreon and Isotope.